These soldiers may seem to be an ordinary commando, but they will be surprised to hear that they are around 1,000 years old. They have amazing healing power, so they do not have anything in 100 hits. But suddenly, the people of the world come down to rescue their bunch. But I brought it to tell the real story of the viral movie called Old Guard. At the very beginning of the movie, we see some warriors dressed in military uniforms lying dead on the ground. All of them have been badly shot with bullets, but we will see who these people are in a little while. And then we are shown a remote scene in Morocco. Two private mercenaries named Andy and Booker have come to Morocco to work on one of their missions. Basically, their job is that they participate in various missions for government or private organization, from suppressing terrorists to doing many risky things. This time, they have come to talk to a CIA agent about such a mission. However, the NDI, they didn't want to take the mission because according to the rules of their group, they never worked twice for the same organization. For the CIA, they had already conducted a mission many years ago, but Booker told them that this time the situation was very extreme. So after talking to the CIA agent, Angel might change his mind. Then the two of them went to the hotel and met their other two companions, Nikki and Joe, and then chatted there for a while. Booker goes to CIA agent Kapil, who tells them that something is at a school in South Sudan. Terrorists have taken all the children of the school hostage and killed the school teachers, all of whom they are holding hostage. All of them between the ages of 8 and 13 have to be very careful and meticulous to save such young children from these terrible terrorists. So the CI finds Andy's mercenary group suitable for this mission. After knowing the whole thing, thinking about the children, Andy agrees to break the rules of his group and go on a mission. But there is Kapil. The entire time they were talking, a sniper was watching from a distance, which they are. No one noticed, and after the meeting was over, Copley was seen waving at the sniper. So what's the secret behind it? But you'll find out later. However, before the mission began, they were all flown by a USA military helicopter to a valley in Sudan. Then late at night, they started their mission. But after entering the location they were given, the place does not look like a school in any way, yet they are their own. Moving forward to carry out the mission, after entering a fortress-like building, they moved several people. Sensing this, they started attacking them one by one, swords and pistols fitted with silencers. After finishing several people, they reached a room that had many doors on the walls around them. Suddenly, some masked soldiers came out of the doors and started firing on them incessantly. Before they realized anything, a heavy rain of bullets rained them all. They all fell to the ground together in the very first scene of the movie. We saw exactly such a scene. Now after taking so many bullets, anyone will reach the top. It is sure. But after a while, all four of them are seen moving. Even bullets start falling from all the wounds in their body, and those wounds heal automatically. The injury heals itself. It is like the power of superhero Wolverine. Anyway, this time, returning to their previous state, they do not give those masked soldiers a chance to stand up with pistols and swords in a deadly style. They kill all the soldiers one by one, brother. Seeing their fighting skills, literally, any martial artist will also be bimmer. They send about 30 soldiers up in just 4 people. Then the question arises in everyone's mind that who are these soldiers who attacked them, and where are the school children, or where? Suddenly, when he looks at the doorknob, Andy realizes what a big game they have been playing with all this time. Everything was being recorded in all the houses through CCTV cameras, and Copley was seen sitting in his room talking to someone about this footage. That is, the CIA has learned about one of their secrets. It is now clear that these warriors are not ordinary people. They are almost immortal because of the healing power in all of them. They can be said to be almost immortal, using their power for the welfare of mankind for a long time. They have been fighting for the welfare of mankind under the guise of private mercenary group. Their main purpose was to protect innocent people, but the people of the world, never again. It will not be good that a few years ago, when they went to the CIA's operation, they came under the surveillance of the CIA. For so many years, the CIA had kept a secret eye on them and arranged this plan to know their secrets. And the kidnapping of this school child in Sudan is actually a planned plan of the CIA after their secret is revealed. So the leader of the team, Andy, becomes very worried. Everyone realized that the CIA would now want to conduct medical research on them in any way. No one would care if they were cut off. And once they came to this healing, if the secret of power is known, there will be a great turmoil in the world. Andy tells everyone that they need to meet Copley quickly and sort this out. Meanwhile, in the next scene, we see a scene from Afghanistan again. A group of US military and Navy soldiers are on a mission to capture a group. USA Marine Commander Niall Freeman was able to get the location by talking to some women first. The man was hiding inside a door suddenly. When he started shooting through the door from behind the door, Niall immediately took one of his accomplices. He breaks down the door and enters, and then he shoots the man dead. But because his body is not badly wounded by the bullet, Niall goes to save him because they had orders to bring the man alive. But the man suddenly picked up a knife from the side and slit Niall's throat, and he started bleeding profusely from his throat, and he fell into the lap of death, with his partner DiGeo crying after seeing this situation. Many attempts to stop the bleeding from his throat, but it is not possible to stop the bleeding in any way. Then, take Niall to the military hospital. But after a while, Niall himself is very surprised to see that he is far from dying, but there is no knife cut mark in his neck. That is, even after literally cutting his throat, he is alive. That means you understand that Niall also has this healing power inside, but Niall himself did not know it, so he himself became quite surprised and confused. With him, DiGeo saw him in a healthy state at once. His eyes were as if can't believe it. The word spread quickly and told Andy to take Niall for some more tests. While his team was returning by train from Sudan at this time, everyone suddenly saw the events that happened to Niall in the same dream. This means that not only do they have healing powers, but they also get information about people of the same species through dreams from a long distance. Now Andy is more worried about Niall, because just like they dreamed about Niall, he may also see them in dreams. So if someone can hold him back, then it is possible to find them through him. So Andy decides that he goes to Afghanistan to rescue Niall, telling the others to meet Kabali. He himself leaves for Afghanistan. Meanwhile, in this story, we see a new character named Stephen Merriam emerge. Merrick, the owner of one of America's largest pharmaceutical company, always wanted to do research to increase the profit of his drug business. For this, he used to hold regular meetings and seminars to get investment. Just after such a seminar, Kapoli met him and called him. The fake Sudanese mission footage shows Andy's team power. After watching this video, Mariko is convinced, but not just to get the footage. It will take a whole lot of people to research. That is, he wants the 4 of them at any cost. But Copley says that he can try to get one of them in his hands because Copley himself has seen the deadly fight that these powerful people know in the live CCTV footage. But still, Merrick orders them all to be captured. Meanwhile, the US at the military base in Afghanistan, the military officer is taking Niall to test, but suddenly, Andy, he arrived there and immediately killed the military officer. Then he also punched Niall unconscious and took him away in his car. While the car was moving, Niall regained consciousness and kicked him open and jumped towards his car. Andy stopped his car and tried to catch him, but Andy suddenly shot him in a shot along his forehead. But after taking the headshot, in a moment, Niall sits up again, this time asking Andy his identity and motive, and Andy tells him to take her out of here to save him. Still, Niall goes to fight with him and puts a knife on him. But if the knife does not hurt Andy, Niall realizes that he is actually someone like him. Andy tells him that he has all the answers because he is the leader of the immortal group. Like them, Niall trusts him. When he gets into the car, Andy takes him. They then board a plane to Paris, France, to find out about Niall midway, wanting how many more people are there with them. Like Andy responds when he just says the 4 of them, then begin to think that Andy might be taking them to France to join their group. While Andy is lying next to him, he stealthily sticks his hand to the seatbelt. Then he points a gun at the pilot and tells him to turn the plane. That is, he does not want to go to Paris in any way. In this situation, Andy pretends to shoot the pilot and tells him to pretend to be dead in Russian. The pilot does as he says. When the plane goes down, Niall obliges to open his arm because Andy can fly him once, but Andy's hand. After the opening, the pilot got up and started flying the plane. This time, Niall was very angry and started fighting with Andy. After fighting for a while, they were able to collide in front of each other. But after finally, Andy overpowered Niall, he realized that the USA military would research him like a rat in the lab. Here, Andy's intention is only to protect people like him. And after realizing this, Niall also calms down a bit. When they arrive in France, Andy takes her to his safe house where Nikki and Joe meet Niall at Niall. It is learned that all of them are over a few hundred years old, and Andy is the oldest among them. That is, none of them grow old or die easily, but Andy says that one of them, named Lekon, actually died one day. At some point, their healing power stops working, but no one knows when it will happen, and until then, they are immortal. Anyway, the introduction phase. After the end, while sleeping at night, Niall suddenly wakes up from a nightmare. He tells everyone that he has ironed a young woman in his dream. Andy was upset when he heard that he was imprisoned in the coffin and that the coffin was constantly sinking under the sea. Then the rest told Niall that the girl's name was Queenie. Many years ago, only Andy and Queenie were in their group. The ancient people of that time tried to kill them by calling them witches, but in the end, they could not kill anyone. They trapped Queenie in an iron coffin. They throw them into the sea and keep Andy imprisoned in a dark cell. But at some point, Andy is able to redeem himself. Maybe he's been feeling guilty about Queenie ever since because he couldn't save Queenie. After hearing all this, Niall wants to get out of there again because he wanted to go back to his family. But Andy manages to convince him that there is not even the slightest care for them in the outside world. In the middle of these words, they are both startled by the sudden explosion. Andy quickly enters the room and finds that Booker has been badly wounded by a grenade. After shaking it several times, Booker regained consciousness and his wounds slowly began to heal. Booker tells that the soldiers wounded him and took Nikki and Zor. This time, Andy tells them to wait for the signal and leave. Then all the soldiers who entered the building get killed by Andy in deadly fighting style. He sends them all to the top. Copley is terrified by this sight. After Andy kills everyone, Booker and Niall leave with Nikki and Joe. After leaving, Copley leads them directly to Merrick, who is bound when they are presented before him. He says they have no regrets sacrificing these two for the betterment of the entire human race. Mickey and loudly using the genetic code can make the entire human race immortal. Even he stabbed them several times in front of everyone to see the proof of their healing power. And finally, they were taken unconscious. Copley told Merrick that these two should only be used for research so that Merrick could use them for some kind of business. He didn't look for the club because Copley was already guilt-ridden by the story, and he also understood that on the other hand, Andy Bukhara takes refuge with Niall in an abandoned mine in France. Then they sit there and look for ways to contact Copley. Meanwhile, Andy suddenly notices that a wound on his neck is not drying in any way. So he goes to the pharmacy looking for some painkillers. The pharmacy salesman also sees his condition and also bandages, but Andy is well aware that his time is near. That is, the healing of Lekon. Just as he lost power, that means he is about to lose power. After thousands of years, immortality is finally coming to an end, but Andy is not afraid of death at all. After returning from the treatment, Niall comes to him and finds his phone. Niall sees a picture taken with his mother. Inside the phone, Andy asks about his family. Niall reveals that his father died in the war when he was a commander in the USA Army. Meanwhile, after Mary captures Nikki and Joe, the doctor under him, to torture them inhumanly, tissue samples work on how their healing power works. Seeing that they were subjected to mental torture to find out, Copley asked Merrick how long he would keep them like this, and Merrick replied that he would never let them go because if somehow his competitor companies find their whereabouts, they would also get up behind them. That is, Nikki and Joe will have to endure lifelong torture. On the other hand, sitting in the old mine, they are able to find out the location of Booker Cabley. Nikki and Joe are locked up there, and Andy vows to save them as soon as he learns Andy's location. They left for England. After reaching there, Andy hands the rifle to Niall and tells him to get ready for the mission. But this time, he does not agree to go on this mission because he feels that nothing will be gained by risking his life and killing people in these death games. He wants to spend time with his own family because even if he is alive at one time, his family will be lost. Then Andy gives him the right to continue as he wishes. Before leaving, Andy tells him to bury all the weapons in the car somewhere, according to him. After going some distance and taking out the weapons from the car, Niall saw that the magazine of the pistol in his hand was completely empty. Then Niall remembered that this pistol was reloaded by Booker and gave it to Andy, and Andy gave it to Niall. Does that mean Booker deliberately handed the empty pistol to him? So does it indicate that Booker is the real traitor? Now that Niall's suspicion will prove true, we get Andy Booker in the next scene. After going to Copley's location, Andy sees that Copley has been researching for many years. Before he can do anything to Copley, Booker suddenly shoots him from behind and swoops him, which means that Bakri is sold to the Copley. Copley ties his hands and tells Andy that he did this so that the scientists can conduct research on Mary. If they can discover a way to achieve immortality, then they can find a way to end it. And Andy can also find a way to end this selfish world that has been going on for many years. He wanted to leave, so Booker did it to fulfill his wish. But he didn't know that Andy's healing power. In the meantime, when he finds that Andy's wounds are not healing, he gets scared and immediately asks Copley to arrange for Andy's wounds to be healed. Copley and Booker tried hard to stop the bleeding from Andy's wound. At that time, Merrick arrives with his entourage. Then Merrick starts talking to Andy in a devilish way. Copley and Booker tell them about the end of Andy's immortality, but he is theirs. Words do not give a story. Brother, if you see the type of Merrick's words, your head will be completely torn. In the situation, he takes Andy to the test. Also, even after Booker helps him, he doesn't spare Booker, too. But Copley tries to convince him that Andy is no longer immortal, so he can die if he goes to test on him. But Mary doesn't sing his words. Andy and Booker are tied up next to Nikki, and Zor Booker informs everyone that Andy's immortality has come to an end. Then Nikki says that everyone, one day, if it is 1,000 years from now, and the time of Marik's death must be approaching while searching for Niall Booker. After entering the building, Copley finds that Copley shoots him in the leg and realizes that he is one of Andy. Then he tells him that some mysterious people have been saving the world from various disasters that have happened every century. They have saved the world from a serious disaster like the nuclear plant accident, but every time they disappeared somewhere, so the world thought of them as a kind of angel. But while researching, Copley found out that Andirai, in fact, it is Angel, so he hands them over to Merrick so that the disease is out of the world, completely eliminated. This can only be done by researching them. Copley's own wife died of cancer. He took it so seriously, but he didn't know that Merrick would be so inhumane. After seeing all this with Andy, Copley's mind also changes his mind. He agrees to help Niall rescue Andy and the rest. For this, he takes Niall to the building where Andy was held. Niall to take all the weapons with him. Andy's axe was also in his hand. This axe was of ancient times. Andy would easily kill anyone by turning this axe round in a dangerous axe circle. After entering the building, if Copley wanted to come with Niall, Niall forbade him to come because ordinary people like him could not do anything in this terrible mission. Copley then gave him his card, through which the private elevator can be directly entered into the lab. As soon as the 15th floor of the building was climbed through the Niall elevator, 3 guards came and shot him. But then he sat up and killed all 3 of them. While the other guards saw this scene in the CCTV footage, the alert is then. Niall came directly in front of Mary to find Andy. As soon as she asked him about the lab, the other guards came and started shooting. Niall took several shots. He finished everyone one by one, but when the axe bag fell from his back, Mary opened it and took the axe in her hand. Then Niall opened the door of the private elevator with the card and came straight to the lab. The lab doctor came to attack him. He kills her and throws her down. Then he frees them all, one by one, and together they are ready to play 12 o'clock for Mary. Either Booker wants to stay in this lab out of his guilt, but Andy tells him to forget everything and fight them, because if they don't stop Merrick now, he will be after them forever. This time, they all move forward together, one by one. The train guards come in front of them in each room. They shoot almost everyone, but in the end, a grenade explodes before Andy's healing power. In the end, he somehow defends himself with cover, while another guard arrives and kicks Nikki and Joe. Nikki starts a fight with him. After fighting with the man for quite some time, the man shoots him in the face and escapes. Seeing these scenes, Andy says that enough is enough. Now I will see the end of this. Saying this, he picks up an axe and attacks the guards, and after a while, Nikki also loses his wound. After a fierce fight with Andy in the end, Andy overcomes him too, and then he takes Marix from his mouth. The real location is really surprising that they have shown the fight that they have shown by losing their power in this wounded time. For one last fight, they prepared to attack Marek. When they stood in front of the door, another group of guards were waiting for them from the other side of the door. Niall wanted to go in first, but Andy interrupted, saying that he always went first and that would be the case this time. But before that, Nikki and Nikki from the other side broke the glass and attacked the guards. This time, they did not give them any chance that the man shot Nikki in the face. Joe twisted his neck. After finishing it all upstairs, the elevator looks down and everyone thinks that Merrick might be running away. So Nikki and Joe, Andy and Niall also talk in this gap. Andy tells him that he has seen the power of his first life inside Niall. So when he dies, Niall will do their duty. In the middle of these words, suddenly from nowhere, Marek comes and points a gun at Andy. But after Niall fires a blank shot at Andy's signal, Marek's attention is distracted. Andy throws him down in a jerk. He puts an axe to his throat, and when he tries to shoot at Andy as a last-ditch effort, Niall grabs him by the grasp about 15. After jumping from the floor and falling on a car in the parking lot, Niall's necklace is literally powdered. But still, in this situation, he heals himself and Merrick reaches the top long ago. So after everything is finished, everyone goes somewhere far away. Sitting there, Niall decides that he will stay with this team from now on. So he conveys the news of his fake death to the family with the help of Copley. While his family will be saddened by this, they have no choice, but Andy Booger will not have any contact for his work for the next 100 years. In the end, they all meet with Copley. Andy tells him that from now on, if there is any evidence in the work they will do, then Copley will take the responsibility to settle it. That is, from now on, it is his responsibility to keep their existence secret, and Copley agrees to their words. A few days later, it is seen in the scene that Booker could not bear his punishment and was spending time drinking in Paris one day in a drunk state. When he returned home, he suddenly heard a woman's voice saying hello to find that this woman was none other than Quinny. But how did he get out of the iron coffin at the bottom of the ocean? And what is his real motive behind meeting the fool? You will get the answers to all these questions. In the second part of this movie, you can understand that the real game is still far away. Now the explanation of that movie will also appear very soon on this channel. Stay well and healthy till then. Everyone is being seen in the next video. Allah Hafiz.